Hey, what's up, GHI people? We were going to have the interview with Rasaun Lamar Jackson, 44 years old, lawyer, actually not practicing now because he's becoming a dentist. Very interesting stories from my hometown. Good guy, a staunch conservative. Actually, he has some views that go far for me, but then he also has some that where I go a little further. A great person to talk to, definitely somebody in the know. Doesn't hold any punches back anywhere. And so his story is interesting. Plus, he was just in Israel. He was actually in Israel during this whole uh, quote unquote crisis that we were engaged in. This third time there, so we're going to talk to him about that. He's got some photos for us and stuff. So that's going to be great. But since we couldn't get everything, he got locked out of his Skype, and then I was setting up some other stuff. Whatever. We're going to have that interview soon. Looking forward to it. But I figured since I'm set up, I'm just going to do a little report. Now, let's talk about the POTUS. The POTUS seems to have the ability to get what he promises, or at least part of what he promises for us, in situations where people are jumping the gun and making assumptions. It's one thing to question decisions, but questioning decisions before they pan out into anything, making the assumption that this is going to happen or that's going to happen. Hey, look, warnings are fine, but hysteria, that doesn't help anybody, okay? Like, if you have some knowledge of specifically why the POTUS is wrong in doing what he did, hey, share that. Absolutely share that. Look, the man's not perfect. He's made plenty of mistakes. There's lots of stuff I can go over. There's one thing I want to say about that, and I said this to Stu. I don't know if anybody that follows me on Facebook knows I talk to a great guy. We have a lot of opposing opinions, and we get into it, and it's quite funny for a lot of people. Some assholes out there to him and me, right? But outside of that, look, when you cry wolf so much, when the POTUS does make a mistake, his supporters aren't going to acknowledge it. Like, I'll acknowledge his mistakes, but even I, who's somebody who cares enough to acknowledge it and say, yo, hey, whoa, this is not a good thing, I don't even care that much, because there's so much wolf crying that's like, okay, well, how am I going to browbeat him when he basically delivers or does exactly what he says he's going to do in a way that wasn't what this person or that person or this pundit or that pundit thought would be the method to make that happen, and then it happens anyway. But then he goes and makes a mistake. What am I going to browbeat him for the mistake when he's being browbeaten for positives? Come on, you got to think about that. Like, I would love to be able to criticize him for mistakes, especially, I mean, because he's getting intelligence here and there that is off the wall, because he's put some crappy people in some positions, and he realizes he's done that and gets rid of them, and then he gets shit on. Excuse the French. Gets shit on. Mierda. Well, excuse the Spanish too. Gets shit on, saying like, "Oh, look, you can't even keep people together," and so. Well, what do you want him to do? Do you want him to keep a bad person in when he discovers that they're working against the government, working against his plans and his promises to constituents? You want him to keep him there? No, you don't. But at the same time, you just want something to bitch about, and that's what I'm talking about. Crying wolf. So when he does do something on his own accord that is wrong, it's very hard for fair-minded people to browbeat him, because people who are not fair-minded are browbeating him when he succeeds, and when at the same level when he makes failures. So it makes failures look like, to the average person who's not paying attention like me or a lot of the people that are watching right now, they're just looking at it like, this is all bullshit. How could you blame them? You're the shepherd boy crying wolf. How could you blame the person that's busy working all day and all they know is that this jerk off over here keeps crying wolf? I'm not going to believe him. And then when you're right, they ain't going to believe you. And you're going to get upset about that. Hey, how about you shut the fuck up, be objective, shut the fuck up until you can be objective. And when you can be objective, do so, and then speak into your horse. But be objective first, all right? I mean, come on. I'm looking at you. You know who you are. Now, we had our ships boarded. We had tankers run into. I'm not sure if Iran or I'm almost positive that at least proxies of Iran were responsible for attacking the oil fields and excuse me and the drone. Trump skirted to try to avoid an all-out war on all these things. Okay, he got criticized by the same people that are criticizing him for blowing up Soleimani. Soleimani, a guy who personally tortured 52 of our, was it 51 or 52? Correct me if I'm wrong. 52 of our, or 50, yeah, it's 52 or 51 American citizens during the 1979 overthrow. Okay, and I saw a funny meme the other day. You're going to get mad about him attacking cultural sites. He doesn't really want to attack cultural sites. It's not really his plan. It's called waving your dick around. It's what you do when you're a strong leader. You know, do you want him to act like a shit weak leader with these tyrants, or do you want him to meet them on their level and smack them in the face with his dick? What do you want? Like, do you want to be successful or do you want to be not successful? Because listen, if you want the other way, you get a guy that bows. You get a guy that's not met by anybody when he gets to the airport. That's embarrassing. That makes us look bad. That makes us look insane. That makes us look weak to the rest of the world. Going to a bully's face and telling him to go fuck off doesn't make you look weak. It doesn't make you look stupid. It doesn't make you look silly. It just shows that you're like, listen, I'm gonna be the bigger guy. We're gonna be the bigger people. But there's a fucking line, and when you cross it, and where was the line? I'm not gonna kill 200 Iranian citizens because of a friggin' drone. Even though he's completely justified to do so. It's an act of war. Even if you're on the side that thinks him using the drone to spy was his bad, it doesn't matter. Okay? It's still justifiable, right? No. Killing citizens, killing soldiers is not justifiable for an inanimate object that we're gathering data with. Not justifiable. Okay? Attacking our embassy and threatening our citizens is. So he acted on it. And did he act on it indiscriminately and just go bombing this and bombing that, destroying their economy? No. He selected one person and the entourage protecting him. He selected a person that deserved it. He selected a person that had spent the last 50 years earning the right, since the guy was a teenager, earning the right to be taken out in this manner. He didn't just pick a random person. He didn't just pick a bunch of sites. He didn't cripple the economy. He didn't do a lot of things, which he could have used the same justification to do. No, he picked one target, and he picked a target that deserved it. And yet, still he's getting friction. And this is after 5 things that happened that at any time, based on precedent, he could have done the same thing. You just make yourselves look insane. You look insane. You can't understand why people will vote for him because normal people are working and don't have the ability to pay attention to as much as some people do. And then there's other people that have the ability to pay attention and they're not doing it anyway. Some people, it's their job and they're not doing it anyway. And they're saying this crap. And you're wondering why the guy gets elected? You're pissed off because he keeps his promises or tries to? And then you go, well, he didn't keep this promise or he didn't keep this other promise exactly the way he said he did. Yet the entire time you're fighting him on it. So you're saying he's not worthy to be an executive for our country because despite having loads and loads of people working against him, some hidden in his own cabinet, which has already been admitted to. This has already been admitted to. This has already been found out. And when he removes these people, you attack him for that too. Look, the normal person looks at you when you talk like this, like you're an idiot. Because if you think that you make sense, you are. I'm not saying that the guy doesn't make mistakes. What I'm saying is nobody gives a shit because when he doesn't, you attack him anyway. So they, and rightfully so, a lot of them make the assumption that, hey, his mistake is probably due to bad information, meddling, or some kind of subversive action by the same people that attack him when he does something good. You roasted a man that saved a lot of lives by being a security officer in a church, which was put there because people in Texas were killed in a church. Okay? The gun wasn't, the person who had the gun and was attacking didn't have a legal gun. So your laws would have done nothing except stop the good guy from stopping that guy. And then later that week, you decide to defend somebody who's killed Americans, who's killed so many of his own citizens just for having a thought. You look stupid. You look insane. I had all kinds of stuff I was going to talk about, and I just went on a rant. This ain't even the GHI report. This is the GHI rant for tonight. Everybody have a good night. People that don't like my positions, that's fine. You please attack them with reality, okay, not your feelings. If you're my friend and we have personal beef, you can have your feelings because I care about you because you're my personal friend. Don't attack this without reality, and we know what it is, okay? But if you don't have facts, you don't have reality, and what you think is right changes from day to friggin' day based on whatever one person does. If one person does this, it's automatically bad. Even if the day before you were saying, he's an asshole for not doing that, and so then he does that, and then you're saying he's an asshole for doing it, your constituents are looking at you like, no, guy, you're the asshole. And every day, 1, 2, 500 more constituents see that you're doing this. And then you're going to probably say there's some kind of deep state conspiracy against you when you don't get in. We're going to talk about Northam soon. We're going to talk about the real crisis that's happening with this country. One last thing. Trump has been getting a lot of bad information in different situations, and he's made some bad decisions based on it, but then he was able at the last minute to make the right decision, despite it. That means something. It means something to me. It should mean something to you. What it means is if you do the right thing and everybody shares the right information, it stops with the blind hatred and goes back to being American. It goes back to being critical. Yes, use your thought pattern to be critical because you think this method's right, that method's right. But don't attack results that are positive for everybody just because you don't like the way the results happened. You weren't elected to make the hard decisions. He was. And don't get it wrong. These are hard decisions. Okay? These are hard decisions. And yeah, so you don't like the way he might have done this or might have done that. But you can't fault the results yet. You have to wait till something really goes bad. Actually, just wait till he makes a mistake that causes more that causes actual observable outrage. Don't attack him for the way he does something that actually gets what all of us want. This has been the rant. This is the GHI report, but I ranted today. Talk to you all soon. Don't forget the interview tomorrow.
You see me?